Hi everyone, I'm Jen Barlow with Bloombox, and we are here today to do the spring lotus pod arrangement. Thank you very much for purchasing your kit. I'm excited to go through this with you, and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing is you need to check all of the materials that are in your box against your ingredients list that comes with the kit. You've got a couple of different elements here. You've got artificial pieces, which have kind of a wire running through the center of the stem. So it is helpful if you have a pair of wire cutters. You might want to get those out right now. Makes it a little easier to adjust the height of the material that you use. Then we've got your dried materials, and then we've got your accent pieces. So the first thing, I'm going to move all of this stuff out of the way just so it's not mucking up our surface here, and we'll just grab them as we need them. We're going to work with the lamb's ears first, and this is your container. In your kit, there is a poker stick, and you're going to want to keep your poker stick handy someplace you can find it. When your hands are tied up, you can just grab it and use it. I put it in my apron along with my wire cutters and my pruners, and you could use scissors if you don't have pruners. My apron saves me because it's going to get messy around here and I lose my tools. Okay. First thing you want to do with your container is look at the feet on the container. So it has 3 feet. And I don't know if it's going to bother you or not. If it does, and you need to have the 2 feet in front versus 1 foot in front, just make sure you line it up and build your arrangement according to how you like to see the feet. Okay, so let's start with our lamb's ears. We're going to take the tallest piece that we have of the lamb's ears, and we're going to put it in the center. I'm going to go slightly off center, and that's going to be kind of our highest piece in the arrangement. You try in general to keep the height of your arrangement about the same as the height of your container, or you can go 1.5 times the height, and that visually seems to be a pretty pleasing proportional balance. I tend to like things slightly off center, balanced but off center, so I'm going to put my lamb's ear a little bit to my left. Then I'm going to take my next longest piece of lamb's ear, and I'm going to stick it kind of at an angle up front, like that. And then my smaller, shorter piece, I'm going to stick, I'm going to stick in back, kind of down low. Okay, so we've got the lamb's ears in. The next thing we want to move to is the eucalyptus. I'm wanting you to get all of your artificial pieces in place first. That gives us kind of the framework of the arrangement in general. And then from there, we can fill in with the dried material, because the dried material is much more fragile. And if we try to stick in the artificial material into the flower foam when the dry material is in there, it's not going to go well. And I'm sitting here trying to get, oh, there, that's where it goes, I think. I lost a tip of my eucalyptus. Okay. So again, you're going to have kind of 3 heights. I actually have 4 pieces. It looks like we cut off the top of one of them so that I would have 4 pieces. So this is my tallest, biggest piece right here. And I'm looking at my existing arrangement. And I'm going to put it kind of back right of my lamb's ears. and just a little bit lower. Okay. Then I'm going to take my medium length piece and I am going to balance out the lamb's ear that I have in the back by putting my eucalyptus there. I'm going to save these two pieces to use wherever it seems appropriate as we move along. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is add some color to the center of the arrangement at about the same height as the lamb's ears. And of your dried material, you have two types of oregano. One is oregano Herrenhausen, which is much more purple and a thicker texture. There we go. I'm looking up because the camera above, I always forget, is there. So that is your Herrenhausen. Yes, Herrenhausen oregano. And then you also have Santa Cruz oregano, which is much more airy and a little more pinky, a pinky purple. So get those two out. And then you also have larkspur, blue larkspur. The larkspur is very delicate. It will, blooms will fall off, and see, I've just taken it out of the package. And the stems are very fragile. So we don't have a lot of that, but that provides this really bright blue color to give us a pop of color here and there once we get some base in to work around. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my Santa Cruz oregano and I'm going to break it into bunches, groups. And I'm probably going to do maybe like 5 groups. Odd numbers tend to be a little more visually pleasing when you're doing something like this. So I usually start with odd numbered groups and then work from there. Okay. I'm going to take my thickest bunch of Santa Cruz oregano, and I want it to be about the same height as my lamb's ears. You want to give yourself about an inch to go down into the container, into the floral foam. So I'm going to cut just a little bit off and then take that bunch and stick the group of it, you know, all the stems together in by that lamb's ear. Okay. Then I'm going to take a piece of my larkspur and I'm going to do the same thing with it, kind of in front of the oregano for that blue color, a little bit lower than the oregano. Okay. All right, from there, we want to start adding your Santa Cruz oregano into other spots. But first, we are going to moss in around your center layer. Just in between the stems is where you want to put the moss right now, not outside of the stems that are already in there. If you put it outside, it'll be hard to stick the dried material in it. So, we are going to take some of our moss. We are going to get our pokey stick out. And we are going to stick that moss in between the stems in the center, the oregano, the larkspur, the lamb's ear, and the eucalyptus, and just kind of push down and jab it into the floral foam. So you can see, I think from overhead, how we just stuck that right in the center. Okay. Next thing, I'm going to move my moss for the moment. Put my pokey stick away. Next thing we want to do is the groupings of the Santa Cruz oregano. I'm going to take it and make it a thicker bunch by moving the heads up together. And then I'm going to clip off my longer bunch and save those little pieces because you could potentially end up using it somewhere. I'm going to take a few branches off, make it a little shorter. And what you're trying to do here is move your way around the arrangement at different heights and angles with this color, this pink color, to kind of spread it out. Okay, here's one set. I think for now I will do 3 groupings to get us started and leave myself some for fill as we go. I've got to turn it around and take a look here. Okay, I'm going to go kind of in here with the 3rd group, I think. And as you're pushing this stuff into the floral foam, be mindful of the overall shape of the arrangement that you're creating. And the shape is completely up to you. If you want it to be loose and wild and, you know, airy, then that's how you should build it. If you like it a little more tight and a little more controlled, then you need to push those, cut them shorter and push them in further into the floral foam. Okay. Now, I'm going to work with the fern pieces, I think now. You should have a few different fern pieces. It looks like I have 4 here. I have a really long, big frond. I have a medium frond, and then I have 2 smaller ones. And someone was nice enough to already cut the stems off of the main frond for me. But I like to have this bright green color all over the place in this arrangement and up a little higher. So there is a metal stem in here, and you can bend it to whatever shape you want it to be. If you want it to just be straight, then you just straighten it out. I like mine to kind of droop. So that's what we're going to do. And actually, I just put that on the back side, and I wanted it on the front. I don't know what in the world I was thinking. Okay, so I wanted the big one on the front. Then I'm going to take the medium one, and that's the one I will put on the back side, up kind of high. There we go. Okay. All right, now we need to do a little bit of fill. So the Herrenhausen oregano is great for fill. It's got these real puffy bloom stems on them. So I am going to take one of the puffy tips, and I am going to stick that right under that front frond, fern frond that I had, to just kind of take up that space. And you need to keep in mind as well that we will be using lotus pods in different places, so just kind of keep a visual gap where you want to put your lotus pods as you're building this and putting this together. And I think I need to turn my fern frond just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and do a couple of our lotus pods. So you should have relatively close in size 3 different lotus pods. I am going to put one of the larger ones in, whoop, I had it turned around. I'm having trouble here. I'm going to do one of the larger ones up here. towards the top. And then in that space, get my oregano out of the way. And I'm going to make him kind of up and down vertical. And then I'm going to take my other medium-sized one, medium to large-sized one. I'm going to stick him in the front, okay? Now that I've got him in the front, I want my top one over just a little bit. Here we go. I like that better. And then my back side needs one as well. That's where my third one will go. And I am going to make him pretty tight and kind of at the opposite angle of my taller one. So that's how the back side looks. Okay. Take a look at what I've got going on here. Okay. So I have kind of this gap going on right here. I'm going to use some of my bunch oregano to fill that gap. Okay. And now I'm going to add another blue larkspur right in front of the one that I had there, but just a little bit shorter, hopefully, provided it will cooperate with me. Okay, the shorter thing's not going to work, I don't think. Let me see. Maybe. Okay. So that's where we are so far. Okay. Next thing we want to use is your natural oats. So natural oats just adds kind of a tan, earthy color to the whole mix. And you will see when you open yours up that for the most part, they are upright in their branching pattern. I always check them before I start using them because every once in a while you'll get one that kind of arches or arcs, and that gives you an opportunity to do something a little different with them. Okay, I'm going to start with, save that. My first piece, I'm going to stick, so I'm looking for gaps, okay? And where do I want to add a different color into one of the gaps? So I am going to go, not there, kind of towards the top. Not there either. Don't be afraid to, move pieces around. Try it where you think it's going to work, and if it doesn't, take it out and put it someplace else. Okay, I'm good with that. Now I want to mimic that color and texture over on this side, down a little lower. So I'm going to take one of my shorter heads and stick that over here. Yep. Now I'm going to add another piece in the back here. Again, working in groupings of 3. And that's going to be another shorter piece towards the back. Okay. I feel like we're at a point now where we can start filling in gaps in the back with some of our color. So it looks like I have 2 bundles left of the Santa Cruz oregano, 3 pieces of larkspur, and 1 giant Herrenhausen. So I'm going to take some of this Santa Cruz oregano, not quite as thick of a bunch, but enough to where it'll show up. And I'm going to start giving the back some color and fill in some gaps as I go. Okay, so that's how my back is looking now. Okay. I think that to fill the gap, in back, I have these 2 littler pieces of eucalyptus left. So I'm going to shove one of those kind of down in this area to help fill that gap. And when you look at this stem, if you want to go the way that nature would, it should go in the arrangement this way, not this way. The upper branch, if you look at it, the upper branch should go towards the top. It sounds silly, but if you're doing a faux arrangement and you don't follow the basic principles of nature, you can tell it, and you don't know that that's what you're noticing, but it is noticeable. All right, so now I'm going to take my last piece of eucalyptus and do it right in there. Yeah. Okay, so now let's go back to our bushy oregano, our Herrenhausen, and start using it to fill more gaps. This stem here, I just cut the central leader out of that, and I can use this stem just like it is and push it down into the foam all the way to there, and it'll fill up a whole lot more space by doing it that way. Okay, let's get some more of our wheat in there. All right. Again, I'm looking for places where I would want this color and the vertical line of it. And I think right back in here would be a good spot. It's just a matter of whether or not I can get it in far enough without breaking things. Yeah, that's good. And then balance it out on the front side. Okay. I'm going to stop there with the wheat for the moment. All right, we still have a little bit of the Santa Cruz oregano and a little bit of the Herrenhausen. So where could I use some of that texture of the Santa Cruz? And I have found a spot I think would benefit from it. That might be too long of a piece. I'm going to go in here. Yep. The bottom half of the piece that I just cut from, I am using right now, right next to it, but it allows me to make it a little more bushy than if I were to stick the whole piece in by itself, you know, without cutting it. And then I'm gonna stick some of the bushy oregano in along with it, down a little further, and that makes it good and filled. Okay, I need to work on the back side a little bit. Give myself some fill on the back side. All right, you have a piece of ficus and you have 2 small fern pieces, or around that. And I usually use these as a drooper, I guess is what you'd call it, that can kind of hang over the edge a little bit and bring some of the material down around your container versus everything being up on top of the container. So kind of like that with your ficus leaf. And I am going to you know what, I thought that was my front and it wasn't, it was my back. Was it? Well, I can't really tell what was my front and what was my back, so that's a good thing, right? Okay. I'm going to use a droopy, not there because I have fern right above it, right there. Droopy piece there. And droopy piece there. Okay. Now, we need to add your yellow element into the arrangement. And what material this is going to vary depending on availability. These that I have in my kit are basically faux forsythia blooms, because we are doing a spring lotus pod bouquet. And that's where I need my wire cutters to make that stem shorter. Okay, and again, because the stems are wire, you can bend them a little bit. This particular material isn't super bendable, so I need to plan on kind of a vertical element out of it. Okay, this is an example where those were all clumped together, and I want it to be taller than the rest, but this guy just seems too tall. So if I go in and I clip that stem right above that blossom, I believe, yep, that gives me the look I was going for. And I can use this somewhere else. Okay? So I've got my yellow there. I need to add yellow in at least 2 other spots around the arrangement. I may end up going more than that, but excuse me. Spring and sinus season. Okay. So where else do I want yellow? I feel like I need a little bit sticking up right here. And probably just a little bit down here. So that piece that I just cut off might be a good one for down here. And then my piece in back here. Or in front. I've lost track of which side is which. And I want this to set down lower than this piece. So I gotta find a spot where I can push down far enough and or cut it short enough to do that. There we go. And there's a piece of artificial lamb's ears right in the way of my stem to poke it down into the floral foam. All right. Yeah. That's good. I'm just going to keep going with where I want yellow. You guys feel free to spread the joy. Okay, I just stuck that piece in there because I wanted some yellow right there, but that's too long. So I'm going to do like I did before and cut off right above the bloom. Okay, all right, so I feel like we've got a pretty good start going here. Now we want to take the purple Crispidia and kind of give it the whimsical balls of the purple Crispidia. So note on this Crispidia, if it is not natural Crispidia, it has been dyed, whatever color it is. It will get on your fingertips. So you're going to want to go wash your hands when you're done and don't touch anything white. Okay, so we have I don't know, 7, maybe 5, 7 Crispidia. And I want to find spots that little ball, that different shape, that different texture will really make a difference. So if I'm looking at what is now my front, which I think was my back, I'm going to add one of those right there. Okay. So just take all the Crispidia you have, only a few that you have, however many you want, and spread them out throughout the arrangement. Okay, so you have all of your elements within the arrangement set up. Now we need to moss in the bottom edge. We did not moss in more than just the center when we got started, because I feel like on this arrangement there's enough material to where you don't really see the floral foam. If you look at it overhead and there are spots where you feel like you see the floral foam and want to cover it, you can just take a piece of your moss, kind of drop it down in there, and then take the flat end of your poker stick and push it down towards the floral foam. I had one spot when I looked in the top that I felt like needed some fill. For the most part, I don't think you're going to run into that problem because it's so dense. There's so much material in there. Okay, so now we're dealing with this edge that we can see if you know, who's going to tip your arrangement, but maybe. So pull some of your moss out, tuck it into that edge, and then take your poker stick and shove it kind of into the foam. Doesn't have to be solid, just has to be stabilized. Okay? And just do that all the way around. Okay, I am finished with my arrangement. All of my edges have been mossed in. I had a little bit of leftover material, but not a whole lot. Couple of pieces of oat, some of the faux yellow. But I feel happy with it. I think I'm done. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for purchasing the Spring Lotus Pod arrangement. I hope that you go back to the website, check out what we've got going on for the season that's coming up. We're going to be adding and taking away and adding new arrangements all the time. So we also have on the website party packs. If you enjoy doing this and want to do this with a group of your girlfriends or sisters or mom, you can order one of the party packs. They're much smaller arrangements and they come with a quantity of 4 of everything. You guys can pull up the video, have a bottle of wine, a cup of tea, charcuterie board, and everybody does their own arrangement. And it'll be amazing when you do it to see that everybody's arrangement looks a little bit different because you're able to customize it and personalize it just for you. Okay, we're all done. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you've got any questions or comments, please contact us on the website through our Contact Us page. Leave a remark or a comment at the bottom of this video, and we hope to see you again. Thank you so much.